In July 2010, an experienced outdoorsman goes missing with friends while during a climb on Mount Rainier. Mount Rainier is majestic, but it's also merciless. Eric's story is a haunting reminder that even experts can vanish, and often without explanation. His disappearance remains one of Mount Rainier's most baffling modern mysteries, a reminder of how quickly climbers can be swallowed by the mountain's brutal weather and treacherous terrain. Welcome to Morbid Outdoors, the podcast that ventures deep into the shadows of the wild. Here, we unravel the mysteries of missing persons, explore spine chilling legends, and share the most morbid stories that nature has to offer. From the depths of the dense forests to the highest mountain peaks, we'll uncover the secrets that lie hidden in the great outdoors. Join us as we navigate the eerie, the unexplained, and the terrifying. So if you dare, grab your gear and let's embark on a journey into the unknown. This is Morbid Outdoors. Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday and Merry Christmas if you celebrate. Today is Christmas Eve, so I guess Merry Christmas Eve. I hope that you're having a great time, and if you don't celebrate Christmas, that is totally fine. Happy holidays. Whatever you celebrate, I hope you're enjoying your time with your family, or maybe I hope you're surviving time with your family. So, I just wanted to drop in here and do like a quick little episode, nothing too crazy, but I really wanted to take this week off. But I know that a lot of you are traveling on Christmas or for the holidays. And so I wanted to give you just a little like mini episode. I don't know how long it's going to be, but I don't think it's going to be very long. So let's get into it. Today, we're talking about Mount Rainier National Park. And I don't know, this one is just a really sad story. It's really, really baffling. Like I said, it's a really baffling mystery. So I don't have any negative reviews today because we visited Mount Rainier quite a bit and no one's left any more fun negative reviews. But we're going to start with our land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the lands that make up Mount Rainier National Park are the ancestral homelands of many indigenous peoples, including the Puyallup, Nisqually, Yakima, Cowlitz, and Saxon Island, Muckleshoot, and Upper Skagit tribes. For thousands of years, these nations have lived with, traveled through, and cared for Tahoma, the mountain that holds deep cultural and spiritual significance. We honor their enduring connection to this landscape and recognize their ongoing presence, sovereignty, and stewardship of these lands. So, Mount Rainier National Park was the fourth national park established in the United States, and it was established on March 2nd, 1899. It is 236,381 acres, and in 2022, it had over 1.6 million visitors. 97% of the park is preserved as wilderness, so it's very rugged, very remote, and very beautiful. I went to Mount Rainier a few times when I lived in the Pacific Northwest, and I love it. It's probably my most favorite national park. Mount Rainier is 14,410 feet above sea level, and it's really iconic in the Washington landscape. It's an active volcano, and it is also the most glaciated peak in the contiguous United States that spawns five major rivers. It is so beautiful. And if you ever get the chance, even if you're like, I don't know, at a work conference in Seattle or something, like I think that you should go and just drive just to see it. It's amazing. So, Mount Rainier is awesome. I don't know. I don't know how there aren't like words to describe it, right? If you've been there, you understand what I'm talking about. The name of the mountain itself in Lushoot Seed is Tacoma, and it's the same name as the nearby city in the Puget Sound region, so like Tacoma, Washington. The earliest evidence of human activity in the area, which is now Mount Rainier National Park, is a projectile point dated to circa 4000 to 5800 BP which is before present, that was found along Bench Lake Trail, which is the first section of the Snow Lake Trail. John Muir was instrumental in preserving this place, and he actually visited in 1888. A lot of you and I have feelings of John Muir, but I can't help but mention him because he was instrumental in getting Mount Rainier National Park preserved into a national park. That has pros and cons. Please don't come for me. I just want to address it. So, there are more than 960 vascular plant species and more than 260 non vascular plant species that are found in Mount Rainier National Park. Because there are a lot of plants, there are a ton of animals, and some of these include cougar, black bear, bobcat, coyote, beaver, fox, porcupine, martens, marmots, and mountain goats. There are a lot of very beautiful birds. It is a birder's paradise for sure. And because there's a lot of water, there's also a lot of fish. So these fish inhabit all the lakes, rivers, and streams, and some of them include the bull trout, cutthroat trout, rainbow trout, mountain whitefish, and sculpins. There are some Chinook salmon and coho salmon, but they're pretty rare within this park's boundaries. Now, this is a very beautiful place, and it's actually got a couple of different climate systems. So, some of it is the humid continental climate or subarctic climate, which depends on the elevation where you are in the park. Mount Rainier National Park is very historical. This park contains 42 locations designated on the National Register of Historic Places. So it is very rich in its history, and I recommend everyone to actually stop and read the signs. I do that just because I like to learn things. A lot of people don't, and then they miss out on so much information and rich history in places like Mount Rainier National Park. Mount Rainier, or Tahoma, as some indigenous tribes from the region call it, is perhaps the most dangerous mountain in America. In fact, like I said, it's not actually a mountain, it's an active volcano, or what's called a stratovolcano. Estimates put its formation at around 32 million years ago, but the picturesque snow capped mountain Washington state residents and visitors know today really came into being about 500,000 years ago. Now, this is according to a naturalist that wrote Tahoma and its people. His name is Jeff Antonellis Lapp. I hope I said that right. So, Mount Rainier is a total paradise for nature lovers who can hike, camp, and view wildlife, and it boasts over 275 miles of maintained trails, which caters to hikers of all skill levels. There are hard hikes to short, family friendly nature walks to challenging multi day treks. There's really something for everybody at this national park. Popular easy trails lead to stunning wildflower meadows, breathtaking viewpoints, and even glaciers. But not every visit ends well for hundreds of visitors. And we're going to talk about one of those visitors today. His name was Eric Lewis. In July 2010, Eric Lewis was 57 years old and he was actually from Duvall, Washington. He was reported missing near the top of Mount Rainier while mountain climbing on Thursday, July 1st, 2010. He disappeared when his climbing companions discovered that he had unclipped from the climbing rope and disappeared. So they actually pulled up a coil with a butterfly knot, and Eric was not there. Eric was a part of a three-man climbing group that was working on ascending the Gibraltar Ledges route on Mount Rainier when they unfortunately encountered high winds and low visibility. The Gibraltar Ledges was the first route to the summit of Mount Rainier, and it was actually climbed by Hazard Stevens and Philemon Beecher Van Trump in 1870 and is now considered the standard winter route on the mountain. So this route is old, it is super well known, and a lot of people do this route a year. That's not me saying it's easy because personally, I would never mountaineer like these people do, but it is really well known among the climbing community and professional climbers. Don Strum Jr. and the climber in the lead on the ledges route stopped and was joined by the second climber on the rope, Trevor Lane. They were about 13,900 feet up, and they were waiting on Eric to join them, but they discovered only a coil with a butterfly knot when they pulled the rope in. They had caught glimpses of him on the rope just moments before, and so they were like shaken by this. They had just seen glimpses of him through the snow and wind, and when they pulled the rope, Eric was not on it. They started to search immediately on the slope below them. After thoroughly combing through the area for any clues, they proceeded to the summit ridge in the case that Eric had somehow skirted around them because of the wind and snow, and maybe he made it to the top. When he was not found on the summit ridge, they returned to Camp Muir, the climbing camp that is at 10,200 feet, and they reported the incident to rangers. A team of climbers searched the Nisqually Icefall and Gibraltar chute areas, and a Chinook helicopter flew in climbing areas around where Eric could have possibly ended up. Climbing ranger Tom Payne and two mountain guides climbed to the summit looking for Eric late on the day of his disappearance, July 1st, 2010. The day after, on July 2nd, the search was expanded, and there were more than 40 people involved looking for Eric on Mount Rainier. Ground searchers included National Park Service climbing rangers, climbing guides from Rainier Mountaineering Incorporated, and Alpine Ascents International, and then, of course, volunteers from Olympic Mountain Rescue. Park rangers aboard a military Chinook helicopter from Fort Lewis and a commercial helicopter from Northwest Helicopters searched from the air as well. Searchers actually found clues. They located Eric's backpack, climbing harness, and a snow shovel at 13,600 feet and a small snow cave at 13,800 feet. Eric did not have a sleeping bag, tent, food, or down jacket. This is what Incident Commander Glenn Kessler had to say at the time. Quote, "The search area is high elevation glacial terrain and demands a high level of technical skill. The odds of finding the missing climber alive must be weighed against the risk to searchers operating in these hazardous conditions. We've thoroughly searched the areas where we were likely to find Eric Lewis and believe it's now time to scale back. Normal patrols of the mountain with a vigilant eye towards finding clues pertaining to the missing climber will continue." So they called off the search because of exactly what he said. Is it safe for these people to continue to risk their lives looking for Eric? And the answer was no. Fellow climbers Don Strum and Trevor Lane searched thoroughly for Eric and retraced their movements, according to their accounts anyway. So they still stood by. He was on the rope. We pulled it in. He wasn't there. Now, something that I wanted to bring up is that the theory of could Eric have possibly done this so that his two climbing partners didn't get injured? Because that wouldn't be the first time that that choice was made so that someone could live. In his book and later film called Touching the Void, Joe Simpson actually wrote about how his climbing companion named Simon Yates cut his rope during a climb on the west face of Ciula Grande in the Huahuash mountain range in the Peruvian Andes in 1985. On the descent, an accident resulted in Simpson falling over a cliff while roped to Yates, who was forced to cut the rope to avoid both climbers falling. Simpson survived after crawling out of a snow cave with broken bones and unable to walk. It was a miraculous escape from death in the Andes. So, was this possibly a situation that Eric unclipped himself because it was dangerous? I don't know. The ground was covered in snow, so following Eric's footsteps should have been easy, but he left no footprints besides the ones following his companions. They didn't find any signs that he had broken off from the group. Like there were no footprints. Searchers found his climbing gear about 200 feet below where he went missing. And 200 feet doesn't seem like a lot, but on a mountain like that, it is. Despite this extensive search, Eric Lewis was never found on Mount Rainier. So the questions I have, why did Eric unclip himself or cut himself from the rope? I wonder if he was suffering from hypothermia and maybe he became confused or disoriented after sheltering in the ice cave. Or did something or someone scare him so he cut his rope? Or possibly was it suicide? I just don't know if we're ever going to find the answer. I mean, to me personally, I don't think there was foul play, even though others have suggested it. I don't know what happened up there, but I don't think it was foul play simply because they actually found his gear near that ice cave. And it seems like Eric unclipped himself or, cut himself off the rope and then he sheltered in the ice cave. I have no idea. Why would he do that? We really don't know. But we do know that he did not vanish on a whim. He unclipped himself in whiteout weather. He left his gear. He built a cave. And then he disappeared. For someone with decades of experience climbing glaciers, it raises a lot of tough questions and it offers very few answers. Mount Rainier is so majestic, but like I said, it's also merciless. Eric's story is a haunting reminder that even experts can vanish, and often without explanation. I still wonder, I think about this case all the time. Where is Eric Lewis? Why did he unclip himself? And why has no one found him in the nearly 16 years that it's been? This route is used often. So, where is Eric? As always, recreate responsibly and remember, sometimes the great outdoors aren't always great. Thanks for listening to Morbid Outdoors. If you're enjoying what you're hearing, make sure to subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast platform. It's free, easy, and it helps us out immensely. When you subscribe, you get updates on our latest episodes, and it also boosts our visibility, making it easier for other curious souls to find us. Another great way to support Morbid Outdoors is by leaving us a review. Whether you're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen, a quick review helps us know what you love about the show. You can also join us on Patreon for early and ad free content. Find us on Instagram and Facebook at Morbid Outdoors Podcast. You can email us case suggestions and your campfire stories at morbidoutdoorspodcast@gmail.com. Thanks so much for the support, and I'll see you next time.